Hi everybody, my name is Vratika Gupta. I'm the founder and CEO of Maison Sia, and I'm here to talk about extraordinary from ordinary. You know, the funny thing about extraordinary moments is that they often begin with the most ordinary moments, disappointments in life. Mine started with a failed art project in grade 7th. It was a vase which looked like it's been created by an enthusiastic earthquake rather than human hands. And my art teacher walked in and she said, "Beta, I think art isn't for you." There it was, my first lesson in the power of thoughts. And that was a decision I had, either to believe that she's right or to understand and believe that she cannot see what I did. Let me tell you a secret that I've never shared on any stage before. Every night before bed, there's a conversation that I have with my younger self. And she still asks me the same question every day. And I still have the same answer. And she always says, "Are we there yet? Have we made it to the extraordinary?" And every day I still say, we are still becoming. There's a beautiful Japanese concept called the ikigai, which is the intersection between what you are good at, what you can do, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. But what they don't tell you is that ikigai is not a destination. It's a conversation between your internal self, your ordinary self, and your belief of extraordinary possibilities. Speaking of conversations, let me take you through a journey I had while watching a fantastic movie called Ratatouille, where there's this young rat who's a French chef, who's inspired by a French chef, and he builds the most exquisite French cuisine. And he has this conversation with the chef in his thoughts, where the chef says, "You are what you think." Now just imagine me explaining this to my Indian parents, that my business philosophy is actually derived by a French chef, by a rat who's actually a French chef. When I started Maison Sia, people asked me that why do you think India needed another home decor brand? And it's fascinating to see that what they were asking wasn't that. It was that, where do you think you can take this? It's really surprising and fascinating still to me that often we expect the most extraordinary things, achievements, to have a prerequisite extraordinary package, but that's not the reality. It reminds me of my first day at work in a small cramped office where I had to make a decision whether I want my shipment to lay here or make room for my desk to breathe. So I did, which any good businessman would do. I took all the products, my first shipment that has just arrived from Paris, I took it home and I filled our modest living room with all the artifacts from all over the world. My mom walked in that evening. She had one look at it and she said, "Beta, your thoughts and your dreams are way bigger than our living room and our house." She meant it out of concern. I took it as a confirmation. Let me ask you something. What if ordinary is where the extraordinary truly lies? What if all our life we've been prepping for this one moment, which is our ultimate dream to be and to do whoever we are? I understood this really early in life, at some point, having this conversation with my younger self. Sometimes at night, when I'm looking at my new collection, I sometimes watch my lopsided vase lying on my shelf, and I always tell myself, it's not the situation, it's my perception, what will define what I'm going to make of this moment. And it's not the things, it's the thoughts that matter. At night, I sometimes look at all my thoughts going on in my head, and often the dialogue is always that some are really dim, barely visible, some are burning bright to make constellations. But the funny thing is that they're all made up of the same stuff. It's just the intensity with which they burn. So all our thoughts, to me, I believe, are just a reflection of what we want to be. And it depends how high intensity and the burn we give them to convert them into truly exceptional moments in our life. I will share one of the rarest and the strongest beliefs I've held all across my life. I've always believed strongly that in one true power that the human race has. You know, I learned at some point that human race is the only race in the world, a species in the world, who has the power to decide and define the future of their future. Unlike, we are not bound by the biochemistry to migrate from one place to another like flamingos and other species have to. At any point in time, a human being can truly decide whether or not they want to be who they've been. So I can just look back, delete my past of 6 years, and start afresh in any moment. how strong is that power and how extraordinary potential it has to transform us. I want to share with you a thought that came to me while I was watching something on Nat Geo a couple of years back. And there was this elephant which was tied by a rope, a large humongous elephant, and just tied right there. And it got me thinking that this elephant, if he just moves a little, it can just break the rope. But he's so conditioned by his thought of being tied to the rope since childhood that he believes that he cannot get free. And I think that's where the melting or the changing point is for all of us. There was a beautiful experiment by Masaru Emoto, which was done in Japan many years back. And what he did was he kept two molecules of water in same temperatures, same containers in two different places. And he had human consciousness, or he had two different sets of people, giving them good and positive emotions to one and negative to one. And what was observed later, and it was proven scientifically, that one water became crystal like a beautiful snowflake, which was a positive vibration given to it, and the other turned to bacteria. That is the power of thought, and that is what defines me, and I think all of us, to what we become. To me, I have always believed that love is the highest emotion or frequency that this universe knows. And when you walk out of this room today, I hope that me and you all take this with you. I'll end it with one quote. You arrive in the direction you face, but you face the direction you design. The power to design the destination is in our hands, and that's what differentiates the ordinary and the extraordinary. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening.